Hey everybody, welcome to Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. My name is Reed with Best Made Videos. We are a wedding videography company based out of West Seattle, Washington. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, one of my probably longest term friends in the wedding community, Yasmin Shirdel of Samila Boutique. She is the operating partner here. And Yasmin, why don't you say hi and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be here. My name is Yasmin Shirdel. I'm the operating partner here at Samila's in Redmond. I also am the lead stylist here, as well as do all the buying for the showroom, both here and in our outlet showroom that's new for us in West Seattle. Super happy to be here.
And I was thinking about this on the drive over because we are at your guys' beautiful Redmond location today. Trivia fact, do you know where we first met?
We first, probably one of the Jamie June functions, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, years ago, I think you had done a dress for Jamie, and I was there filming for her.
Yeah.
And, I think we even did an interview. Jamie interviewed you, like, on the red carpet.
Yeah.
But to think that now, 5-6 years later, that it just really talks about kind of how small the wedding community is, that we're still, and like we went down to Vegas together for the wedding MBA, and it just goes way back. And then the other trivia note, and I wanted to make sure we included before I forgot, is you actually sold my wife her wedding dress.
That's right.
And that was big for me because she had, this was 3 years ago now, had said, she was really struggling, with the dress. And I said, well, just go talk to Yasmin. And I don't know anything about like a good wedding dress or a bad. I know how to like make them look cool or like hang them up in a high spot, and get a photo of it. But I said, well, go talk to her. Like, she's not going to BS you. Like, she's going to give you the straight. And then it was like 3 months later, she ended up buying it from you. And so that was just really cool. So I was really glad.
Yeah, absolutely. It's come full circle for us, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Indirectly in so many ways.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about just what you guys do currently, what you guys are focusing on right now in terms of, dresses and the season and what's going on.
So we're at the tail end of our prom season, and we're fastly approaching bridal season. While the bridal season for actually finding your dress is more in January, February, March, but now we're actually approaching the wedding season. So we're getting our brides ready with their fittings and their alterations and their accessory appointments, making sure they have everything they need. Sending off our prom girls to their proms. We're kind of at the tail end of that. And then the mother of the brides and grooms are coming in. They always wait till the last minute because they just, it's hard for them to see themselves in that light, and they don't want to outshine the bride. And wedding guests are coming in shopping for weddings. So we're kind of in between seasons right now. We're very seasonal business.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't notice that until my wife went through it, that, you think, oh, I just go get the dress. But no, you go, look, or maybe you go a bunch of different places, but then, you buy the dress, and then you have to alter the dress and fit the dress. And so it is like 3, 4, 5 appointments.
It's quite a process. There's a reason they tell you, if you search on Google, they say, what's the timeline for a wedding dress shopping? It is 1 year in advance. You should start looking, getting an idea of what you want 12 to 14 months in advance, because by the time you check out a couple bridal salons and figure out who you want to work with and where you feel comfortable, going through that process, who you feel comfortable going through that process with, you want to pick your dress 10 months in advance. Depending on the designer or the salon that you're working with, the dresses can take up to 6 to 8 months to come in. And then that tail end of 3 or 4 months of wiggle room time before the wedding is meant for fittings and last minute styling decisions with veils and accessories. And, unfortunately, it's part of our industry, but brides tend to fluctuate a lot towards the end of the wedding planning process. And so you have to make sure that the fittings are, quite a few times to make sure that the dresses are fit properly. Yeah, but you're right. We see the bride at least 3 to 5 times between when they first walk into our showroom and when we send them off with their dress.
And I think it's interesting, again, and something as a guy, I just never really thought, the wedding dress is important. And we've done videos for you guys talking about, who you are and what you do.
Right.
And, the dress is so important to the bride, and that process is so important. And, you guys really try to make it a real personal experience here.
Yes.
Can you talk about that, kind of your philosophy with that and kind of going through that process?
I would love to. So with women, I think you just start dreaming about what you're going to wear on your wedding day when you're little. I mean, as early as, I don't know, when you're 5, 6, 7, you're watching cartoons, you're, into these Disney movies, and it's all about the wedding dress. And so I feel that I think a lot of brides will agree with me that the wedding dress is the centerpiece of the wedding, and it's also the most self-reflective choice in that wedding journey. Process, because when you walk out into your room of your family and your loved ones, and you are walking down the aisle to your groom, it speaks volumes about who you are as a person and how you want to present yourself to the world. So it's a very personal choice. It's not just what kind of food do we want to serve. I mean, it's a very personal, self-reflective garment that you put on, and it says a lot about you. So it's really important, I would say. And,
it's interesting, too, because not only is it reflective kind of who you are, but, also kind of the wedding and the vibe you want. Like I've talked with photographers where, I don't know, it's a country wedding and maybe the dress, really complemented that or not.
The venue.
And it's kind of, it really is kind of has to be all encompassing and really kind of fit in, with the aesthetic you want in terms of your wedding day too. Talk about the Samila client here, the kind of brides that you guys attract and what the people are looking for that come here.
I would say there's two parts of it that set us apart from some of the other bridal salons. Because we've been in the evening wear category for so long, we tend to procure or bring in gowns that fit a little bit more of a non-traditional bride and a non-traditional budget. We have a lot of options in our showroom that are off the rack, meaning you can just take it home because we're able to procure or select or bring in gowns that aren't the traditional bridal price point, meaning closer to like under $1,100 and things that you can take home. Not all brides, I think specifically in the Pacific Northwest, like this big traditional, concept. And then on the other side of it, really embracing the fact that we've done so much evening wear, is that we're able to bring in gowns that really have a little bit more attention to detail. When I say that, I would say generally I've heard from my brides that in the area, the dresses tend to have a little bit more simplicity to them. They have more of understated looks, a lot of lace. And here we specialize in bringing in more heavily beaded looks, Swarovski crystal. And then most importantly, we work with factories that you're able to completely do custom modifications and custom measurements. So you're really minimizing the alterations on the other side.
And so, so here at the salon, you do the bulk or all of the purchasing, right? So
I do.
Is that, I don't even know, what is that?
What does that mean?
and what is that like? I mean, knowing that you're kind of are responsible for kind of bringing in all the stuff that sets the stage for the rest of your guys' business.
It's a lot of pressure. I remember last year I was in Dallas and I sat at the table and, the designers are just giving you coffee and beverages and sugar, and you're standing there looking at a sea of white and you're like, oh my God, what's here that's different than what I already have in the showroom, and what price point is a customer willing to pay for this dress? And so it's a lot of pressure, but it's so much fun. This is really important to have a good sense of what your clients are looking for, understanding what your the fashion is, the trends are. And so I do spend quite a bit of time both on social media, and then of course I try to do almost like an exit interview with my clients if they're not finding what they're looking for, really trying to hone in on what's missing in our collection here in the showroom. And so I spend 3 or 4 trips a year and I travel around the world. And dig through designer showrooms and, review the new collections and piece together what we feel we want to represent our brand here in the showroom.
Because it's tough because, what might be on trend today might not be on trend tomorrow or what.
And what's in trend in Chicago or Miami and Los Angeles, it might be one of the, best-selling styles of this particular designer, and it's just not going to sell for us here in Washington State. So it's really about taking risks too, trying to show the Pacific Northwest community some styles that are trending, but really, trying to figure out what they're looking for and how far they're willing to push too.
Yeah, and that is a great point you bring up because, I think that's across the board, right? Like venues that are really popular here or certain aesthetics or whatever, if you're on the East Coast, it might be a totally different thing that people are looking for. And, that doesn't affect me as much because, I'm just going to go film whatever is kind of in style. I guess filming styles can change, but you guys, you really do have to be what people want and what people are looking for. So I'd like to go back a little bit and talk about kind of your start. You guys, bridal is newer. It's not new anymore. I think you guys are pretty established in that. Now, go back to kind of the start of the boutique here and with your family and kind of that history.
So our store name and company is Samila Boutique. Samila is actually my mom. She created this business and in 1997. I was in high school, and I think the love of fashion has always been in our family. My grandmother studied fashion in Paris. She had her own design house. And so I think that love just kind of trickled down, and my mom had an opportunity to start her own business in 1997. And initially it was never evening wear category. It was more kind of contemporary. In the 90s, it was like suits and things like that for women. And one day she just, decided to clear a rack and add some evening wear, and the next thing you know, there's a line out the door. And so that's kind of the niche that she created, and very successful for a long time. Pretty much primarily based in Redmond, most of our company. And about 7 years ago, I was living in Miami at the time. I was pursuing my own career in finance and business management and marketing. And I moved back here, and my mom and I just decided, it's time for her to retire. And we decided to extend the category and go into bridal. And the reason we did that, quite frankly, is because we've been dressing so many women over the years for prom, and they kept saying, how come you don't have bridal? And, we decided to ask ourselves that own question, and we decided to add bridal. And it was a lot of research that was done. It was a lot of, checking out which designers were in the community, because we didn't want what everybody else had. We wanted something very different. We wanted to exceed our customers' expectations and provide that exclusivity and uniqueness that we'd always provided in Washington State. So we decided to, as you said, add bridal about 5 years ago, and it's been awesome journey. I can't tell you how many women who bought their prom dresses from us have now returned and have found their wedding gowns, and they celebrate that with us because they say, oh my gosh, I think it's amazing that I bought my prom dress here, and now all these years later, we're here finding our wedding dress. So it's really special for us. It's exactly why we decided to add bridal. It's because we wanted to grow with our customers and still be part of their stories.
When you were, like you said, mom started this when you were in high school. Mm-hmm. Was that ever a thought of yours to join in the family business?
So when she started it, no, right? But when it's a family business, you're involved whether you like it or not, right? So I was going to UW at the time, but I was helping her. I would help her on the weekends, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what I wanted as far as what my place was supposed to be. I think I needed to work a little bit here, understand how a family structure works, and then venture out and do my own thing for a while, because it helped me appreciate what a family business is like. And stepping out into the world and working in both the restaurant business, I worked in five-star fine dining for quite some time, and I worked in retail for quite some time. That helped kind of hone the craft of the customer service aspect, the procurement aspect, the finances, and then I was able to bring that back in. But to answer your question, no, I never thought that I would see myself here in this position now, as involved as I am. But it's a gift. My mom and I had a talk 7 years ago when I decided to enter back in, and she said, this is your legacy, I think it's time. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. It's time.
I've talked with a lot of people that have done kind of corporate and other things and then have brought those skills back in, to running their own businesses now. What were some of the biggest things you learned or strategies or skills now that you're able to employ back into the boutique here?
As far as the internal, I would say just really building a structure within what we do, making sure that the girls that are here, that the stylists that are working for us, whether they're younger, kind of not as experienced in retail, or where they are, very seasoned, that no matter who's working with the client, that they are receiving the same quality of service, the same knowledge, the same love and care. So the structure that I was able to bring in from working on the corporate side was really important. And then just the brand awareness aspect of it, my mom had done a really good job to what she knew in her capacity for so long. We were famous, but we were famous in this aspect of, it's that pink house in downtown Redmond. And we still get calls and they're like, are you still the same business? Are you the pink house in Redmond? And I'm like, yeah. But that just goes to show how I was able to bring that corporate side and really provide more of a brand awareness to our name, to what we do. And so we really pushed the name, the Samila Company, Samila Boutique, and made it more of a brand as opposed to just that pink house in Redmond.
Yeah, and I do think that that's got to be a big challenge where, Seattle has quite a few, established bridal salons and designers and Louis Yang and all that. I don't even know all that. I just take pictures of them. But it's got to be tough to really kind of establish that. And now, you guys are in the wedding show and, you're sponsoring things in the runways and things like that. That's got to be really challenging, right? In so short a time, right? Now, talk about that kind of this, it's like exploded in the last 5 years since you guys expanded.
I think that a lot of that was able to happen because of just my awareness of social media and my experience in web design now and, marketing and really figuring out how customers are finding us, how their needs are being met, what path they're going through to find what they need in us. It's been a very fun and exciting learning process to do that. But I think the more you get into the network and the community of what we do, yourself included with me, I've met a lot of people through the Seattle wedding community. The more you put yourself out there, both personally, actually just really personally, the more you put yourself out there, the more people are drawn to understand who you are and what you do and have a better level of respect for each other's industries. And it's a huge learning curve. I, by all means, don't have it figured out. I'm still working on it. But it's very fast growing because the power of the internet and social media, it's amazing.
Yeah, and, when we were down in Vegas last year and you had gone to the Wedding MBA the year before and we were talking at a wedding show and you said, Reed, you
have to go.
You got to come. And, and then we would go and, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a 3-4 day long conference and, all day. And
everything related to the wedding community.
And so, they have these experts, not only in photography and, wedding planning and things, but it's like cutting edge stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's a new, like, I remember there was like this is a better way you can text people from like your computer and all this stuff. And I remember we would go and get, a drink afterward and kind of recap. Because, I mean, you're like me where if there's like a program you can buy or like an app that you can figure out that'll save you, 10 seconds in every transaction, why is that so important to you to kind of be on the cutting edge of that and to really, take advantage of all the different traits? And
because our customers are. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think the biggest lesson I learned at the first year of wedding MBA that I went that you didn't attend 2 years ago was you have to communicate with your customers the way that they communicate with you. And technology right now with all the different ways of communication, whether it's WhatsApp or Messenger or Facebook, telephone, email, I started to find that customers didn't want to talk to me anymore. I would call them to tell them to pick up their dress. They wouldn't answer the phone, but if I texted, they responded in 2 seconds. And so for me, really embracing which areas of technology would really help our business and help with opening the line of communication. And even though it felt like it was shutting down, was huge for me. So I just really wanted to know how to connect with this. I don't know if you're wanting to call it millennials or X generation at this point, the generation that's, really majority is getting married. It's important for me.
Yeah, and I've talked with a couple other interview people now about kind of going through this, podcasting and scheduling interviews and like dealing with, different vendors of different types and like seeing which people are really communicative and not. I was actually emailing the planner last night. We have a wedding this weekend, and I like to reach out to the photographer, and I've emailed them, 3 or 4 times in the last 2 months, and I've never heard back, right? And I kind of track emails, so I know these are being read. And I was doing some last minute, finalizing with her, and I said, hey, have you been in touch with the photographer? I've emailed them, and she said, well, they're just really not good at, emails. Like they kind of go through waves, and sometimes I just thought if I'm if I'm a vendor, and I'm reaching out 3, 4, 5 times to try to, just say hi before the wedding. Well, imagine if you're a client, right? And or a potential client, right? Like someone that's trying to find a dress here, and if they emailed you 3, 4 times or called and you never responded, right? I mean, I just think it's kind of a learning process for everybody that you need to be accessible like that.
Well, what was the experience like for you? You just planned your wedding not too long ago, even though you are in the community and everybody. Where was that a learning curve for you on just even your reaching out to vendors?
No, it was huge. I mean, I would email people and then have booked that service before other people had even gotten back to me, because I'm not I'm not one of those people where and rightfully so, I have a lot of people that are hiring a videographer, and I email them back and they go, thanks, we're trying to get 3 or 4 or 5 quotes together to, make the best decision, which I think is probably a better way to do it. I don't do that, right? Like I'm trying to get things checked off the list, right. And like you and me, you're running the business, you need to go. And so I would get if the person came back and it fit and it was a personality, I mean, I moved on. And then, it would be like 3 weeks later, like I heard back from a videography company and they were like, oh, hey, I was like, man, I booked that already. That. Like that. Yeah, we're moving on. And I think that's how a lot of clients are. I mean, I think a lot of people mom's ready to help you book a videographer or buy your wedding dress, and we're trying to get on that. And, even though that process with you might be 6 months in terms of buying it and altering, they want to find where they want to go and the people that they like to work with, right?
Yes, and I think it's so important we have to have our own lives too. I mean, we can't be accessible 24/7, but I think once that connection's made and that outreach is made by the client, just being very authentic and, showing them that love right away speaks volumes about how you're going to treat them through this 6 to 10 month journey. For myself, like I said, I'm touching the bride 4 to 5 times before their wedding day, so to speak. So I need to build that trust right away that they're being heard, that they're being understood, and that their needs are being met.
Yeah, and like I'm booking a bride right now for next January, and she was like texting me, the other day, like, oh hey, like I just had a question, and like 5 years ago, like I don't think that would have been a thing that people did, right? Like whether you had a landline or brick and mortar, like they're not, or like I had another bride on Instagram be like, hey, we really need like this shot at our wedding. Can you make sure, we add that? And it is just like fascinating to me how far that accessibility has gone, which I think is
good. And how quickly. Really
quickly. But I think that was kind of the whole reason I wanted to do the podcast, was to get, the accessibility and to get people's personalities out there. But so obviously you kind of agree with that. And
I'm totally on board with that. You have to move with the times. And if you don't, you get left behind. And, that's just the way that our generation is speaking to each other right now, whether it's just a friendship level, a family member, or someone that you're potentially going to hire. I mean, people just, when they want to talk to you, they want to talk to you, and that's it. It doesn't matter. A lot of these folks are planning their weddings at 2 o'clock in the morning. They're sitting in their beds, after they've either put the kids to bed or, I don't know, the day that they've had, and they can't get to a place that they can shut down and focus on their wedding till 2 in the morning. I have so many emails that come through at 2 in the morning, and I'm like, oh my God, these people don't sleep. But that's what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, that, we don't sleep a lot. My wife's a teacher. We got pretty early. But, even getting up like at 5 or 6, you have quite a few emails from, we go to bed at like 11:30. Yes. Just that like 4 or 5 hours. Yes. There's a lot coming in there. It's fascinating that we have the same
experience.
So I want to talk about now the actual bridal suite here. Yeah. Because I think I had been in here before doing some event stuff, and then you had hired me to come back and do the video, when you guys kind of launched the bridal suite. But I just kind of saw it appear. So I want to hear from you about what was that experience like of taking an established, physical location and kind of building this on and making what I think is a really beautiful, bridal suite.
Oh my God, I was obsessed with it at the time. I think there was nights that I spent the night here because the builders were here till like 2 in the morning. It was a really fun journey. I wanted to make the space in the back. I designed it. And I wanted to make the space in the back, when we decided to do it, intimate and cozy. And we didn't want it to feel like a, assembly line of experience where there's just so many fitting rooms and so many people walking around while you're, in your intimate moment with your friends and family. So we have 2 suites in the back, one that accommodates, up to 9 guests and one that accommodates 3 guests. And I wanted it to look like, have the aesthetic of something that was very high end, because we chose to bring in and procure dresses that had really high quality of Swarovski crystal. And the lace and the detail. We wanted the lighting to really have a great a location in the showroom to bounce off of those crystals. And it worked, because a lot of the customers, when they come through, and we don't put our dresses in garment bags for the bridal portion, we keep them exposed, because we want customers, when they walk in, to feel like this is their closet, and they can touch and feel and, peruse through the selection and really see, just even hanging, how it's going to, the lighting's going to bounce off and how it's going to look, instead of even waiting to put it on. So the design aspect, we had the mirror brought in from the East Coast, because it was a huge mirror that it's like 10 feet wide. We didn't want just a small mirror, so that was really fun.
It's interesting because the only real, I don't go in a lot of dress suites or whatever. Yeah. But when we were over in Spokane, my wife, her friend's getting married, and so they went in Spokane to go.
Dress shop.
Yeah, it just happened that it coincided, and that the experience. Spokane is a different market than Seattle, and I said, oh, yeah, how did it go? And they said, it was really weird because, like, people kept coming in and, like, they were making deliveries and other people were kind of browsing. And, and it really kind of, like, turned them, I don't even know if they really knew or not, but it really turned them off to the process because, like you said, you really do want to make that intimate
environment.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so it was really fascinating to me to kind of hear that and to be like how turned off they were. And they were like, oh, we didn't like that at all. Like, we felt like, oh, just anybody in the town's kind of coming in today. And and
that's exactly what it is. Brides have been waiting for this moment to celebrate. It's not just the wedding day, right? It's the day that you're celebrating with your friends and family, that you're finding your gown. And so that in and of itself is such an intimate moment. There can't be distractions. There can't be kids running around like crazy. There can't be other customers walking through that space. It's intimate. It's like... it's really special. So you want to really make them feel comfortable. You want to also have that space to connect with the bride and their family too. And so it needs to be nurtured. It needs to be protected. And that's why we limited it to just the 2 showrooms. And we're pretty selective of not having the appointments stagger too much or be intrusive of customers even coming back there. We basically barricade other customers from even going back into that space.
Yeah, because you want it to be unique to that person.
Yeah.
Talk about, being local here for so long, being established. And I know that you guys hold a great importance to that.
Yes.
And we've touched on that a little bit, but just having the space here and being here for as long as you guys have been and having people be able to come in and being local, to Redmond. Talk about that and just kind of that family legacy you guys have had here.
Okay. So we've been on Redmond Way for, I don't know, over 15 years. We've basically stayed on Redmond Way on the north side of the street and just shifted up and down a block. And so I think that while Google kind of changed everything from when my mom started the business and for myself now, where, we kind of have this argument back and forth where I'm like, if we ever move the store, she's like, nobody would find us. They know we're in Redmond for 20 years. They just come and they know they'll find us here. They're comfortable knowing that we're here. And I'm like, no, Google will, they'll find us. Don't worry, wherever we go. But I think it's just been important for us this is where we grew up, so to speak. And this is where our blood, sweat, and tears have been for so many years. We talk about it, but we've never been able to move. It's really important for us that these people that have known us and purchased from us and found these special occasion dresses from us over the years, because we've done prom for so long, and evening wear category and galas and pageants and things like that, that they trust that we will always be here right where they found us from the beginning.
And something that we haven't even really talked a lot about, even off air, but I'm really fascinated about is your guys' new kind of location you guys have over in West Seattle, which is like, we're terrible. We haven't come in yet, but
no, it's okay.
I want to hear about that and kind of the idea behind that now and expanding out, and starting that.
So, our price range in the Redmond showroom has always kind of stayed at an average about $300. And, we just have a lot of people that come through from the community that tell us that they have friends or families that can't afford these types of dresses. And so what we decided to do, we had an opportunity with the property in West Seattle the vision was, my mom didn't want to stay in retirement. She wanted to still continue to serve our customers. And, we said, let's do this for them. Let's have an extension of our store here in Redmond, and let's create an outlet store. And at first we thought, let's do it as a pop-up concept because we didn't know if it was going to take. And so we opened it in March. It's about 1,100 square feet showroom. It's a really cool industrial building. Love the lighting. It has a really cool vibe in there. And we brought in at least 1,500 to 2,000 dresses. Actually, we took all the dresses that were in this showroom prior to January 2018, items that were up to $600, and we literally just grabbed a U-Haul and took it all over there. So these are really nice dresses. But we just thought, let's just quickly shift our inventory a little bit quicker and give the opportunity to the community to purchase an even more expensive dress. And the great news is all the garments there are between $99 and $199. So there's no reason that any woman in the Seattle community or Pacific Northwest now can't have a Samila gown that isn't affordable.
And so you said it was kind of originally a pop-up. Long-term now, what's the plan for that space?
So long-term, we're open weekends there, Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 5, no appointment necessary. The idea is that as long as the community will have us, we'd like to continue to offer the merchandise there at the off price. So for now, it's been very promising. The community has been very receptive. Had even Miss Universe pageant contestant in there finding her gown the other day. I have to post a picture of it on Instagram. Girls are sending us their pictures of the dresses that they purchased there that they wore for prom. Everyone's loving it. So we're happy, they're happy, and hopefully it's going to be, permanent.
When somebody decides to come through your guys' showroom and go through the process of finding a dress with you guys, like you said, we've said it's really kind of personality driven. You guys, it's a family environment. Walk me through the process of if I'm somebody that's interested in coming here or, looking, what is that and what does it feel like, that process of coming, working with you guys?
Our customers tell us that it's felt so easy. So our customers mention to us as they're checking out, wow, that was painless. That was so easy. That was fun. And the reason I think that they feel that way is because from the moment that they walk in the door, we greet them and we ask them questions. What's your name? What's your event? When is it? What colors do you like? What style do you like? And so very early on, they're experiencing that stylist experience. The person who greets them is interested to know what they want. And, they quickly pick 3 gowns that they like, and we bring them into the fitting room area, and the stylist asks the family member to sit down and enjoy. They don't have to help them in and out of the gowns. We do. So the stylist will individually put each dress on your body, will zip you and unzip you, and will show you how the dress is meant to fit properly. You can go to these big department stores and you can shop online all you want. You will never get that personalized experience, that level of customer service, because most people don't know how a garment's supposed to fit. There isn't anybody telling you that has tailor experience or fitting experience what something's supposed to look like. And I think that's why we make it so easy for customers to enjoy the experience and kind of see from A to Z what it's supposed to look like, as opposed to trying to figure it out and maybe going out there and finding a tailor and this and that. We just do it all for them and with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so then once they are, they find the dress that they love, it's pretty easy then to kind of get everything else finalized, right, in terms of like alterations and accessories and things like that.
Yeah. So we have an in-house tailor. She's amazing. Her name is Lana. She's from Ukraine. She's amazing. She's a master seamstress. She's been doing it for 30 years. And so we can schedule an appointment for them to meet with our tailor based on her availability. So that's really easy and accessible. And then we have a list of tailors. So we kind of walk them through the process again of finding what they're looking for. Then that's on the evening wear side. And then on the bridal side, very similar experience, except, of course, it's by appointment. The bride has a 75-minute appointment with a stylist. Kind of a similar process. We sit down and we interview them and talk about what their needs and wants are. And then we spend 75 minutes with them to help them find what they want. And then if they do say yes to the dress, after the celebratory pictures and all that, we, of course, set them up for a timeline of what's to come after they've said yes to the dress, as far as appointments and fittings and expectations and things like that.
When you talk about that celebratory picture,
yeah.
I do want to hear more about that, because to me it's really interesting because, you guys, I think really easily could have kind of like you said, stayed in evening wear, or, if your mom wanted to retire, or, it very easily could have not been what you guys are today with, without the work and kind of the know-how and the modern edge that you guys are bringing now, with social media and Instagram and showing, not only like bride, because I see online, brides being happy, but also like, hey, we just got this dress in, or here's that, or this is what's unique. Talk about, marketing through social media like that and the importance you guys put on it, and what your philosophy is when you post the way that you do or do the things that you do on there.
The idea is for the general public to see what's going on inside of our space, without obviously making anybody feel uncomfortable. But it's a celebration. These are special occasions. These are momentous occasions, and we want to not document it, but we technically, yes, we want to be able to capture, let's say, the moment. So we, social media, again, it's such a big part of our lives, and we like to share the steps of these moments with our friends and family. So we like to take a picture with the brides in the bridal suite with the "I said yes to the dress" sign. And we also have recently brought in a photo booth, which has been so much fun, because there's video on there, there's boomerangs on there, and pictures, and then we have Snapchat filters on there, and so that just texts right to the customer's phone, and they can just share that on social media. I can't tell you the laughter that photo booth spreads in here watching grandmas do boomerangs. It's so much fun, and laughing is contagious, and so it's a really good energy. And, going back to what you were saying with the social media marketing, we didn't really know how to engage with our customers maybe a year ago. I personally didn't understand it. I think I met somebody at the Wedding MBA this past time that we went, and she really taught me what it is that the customer is looking for out of the experience of visiting our social media pages. And that they want to know who you are beside just the product photo. In other words, not just a picture of what the designer is putting out there, but who are you? What are you offering? They have to trust who they work with, whether they're using you as a videographer or me as a stylist. They want to get to know that person and really know that they know what they're talking about. And so we just learned that we need to show off more of what the product is that we offer in the showroom and the experience. And so more so the experience than anything, but just how proud we are of the merchandise that we're selling and how much fun we're having in the showroom, and the laughter and the smiles and things like that. So it's just giving people a small peephole into what we do here every day.
Yeah, and also with, you do these real, I think you call it real brides now, or real clients.
Real customer images.
Real customers. And I mean, because I see those, and like, to me, obviously seeing the bride, in the showroom and with the photos you guys post is awesome too. But seeing them out, or seeing that girl like on with
their
her prom
wedding day or
even
day.
like but like seeing them out like that, you're like, wow, like that's really real.
I live for those videos and those pictures, because we spend hours here with our brides and our customers, putting the whole look together. But when we get that, I just tell you, I get Instagram direct messages. Like we said, at like 2 a.m, I got one last night from a prom girl. And when I get that ding on social media and they're sending us the photos, I'm just like drooling. Like, I can't wait to open it, because it's so exciting. That's what it's all about, right? So just dressing them is not enough. We want to see them on that day. We want to see that smile on their face, and the messages that flood in with the appreciation and how many compliments they received, and how special it was. That's what we're here for. That's what, makes us keep going.
What is the biggest challenge moving forward that you guys see, or what is something that you are going to have to, what's the next kind of conquering step that you guys are going to have to work through? Or what do you think is the hardest thing as kind of a business owner, whether it's a business owner or as a bridal?
How do I put this? I think the biggest challenge that we have been seeing in the last couple of years and are continuing to see is making sure that we're helping people in the community not get duped with bad quality of garments and have the right expectation of what they're supposed to receive as far as a beautiful gown or garment, because there's so much horrible counterfeit websites out there that people are getting duped, and it's so sad. And so competing with that has been really difficult for us, because we sell we're not just selling a service, we're also selling a tangible product. And so they see these images, whether it's a bride or a prom customer online, and then they receive the garment and it's nothing like what they thought. And so, communicating and connecting with these customers and saying, hey, this is not the product that you're going to get. This is not at all the experience that you should be having when you're having your say yes to the dress moment, whether you're finding a prom dress and your mom's sitting in front of you and you guys are going to talk about this memory 10 years from now, or in the bridal category, setting the right expectation of the value of these gowns and why some of them are so expensive. It's really tricky to get people to understand these things over images. So that's something that we're working on. I think connecting with customers through social media is helping a lot with that. Setting the right expectations and providing the product knowledge, that's been really big for us.
Yeah, because I've seen some of those posts on Facebook where, prom girls or whatever post this is the photo that we thought we were going to get, and then the dress is not. It's like
exactly. I don't. Some people don't care, but a lot of people do. And I actually just ordered 2 dresses from those sites, and I'm going to hang them in the showroom because I want people to just, not that I'm trying to shame other companies or anything like that, but I'm talking about these Chinese-based companies that are really just rip-offs. And we're going to hang them in the showroom, and we're going to allow people to educate our customers so that they're not feeling that they're getting ripped off. They can understand, why we're here and what we're doing and what the value of it is, so they can touch and feel and see these things that are just horribly made. And I've been to those companies in China and see how they make these counterfeit products, and it's amazing what they do.
That's crazy. The last question I guess I have is, moving forward, what's your next big goal? What is the next thing you guys are looking to accomplish here? I mean, it's been kind of huge growth in the last 4 or 5 years, and now in expanding to West Seattle and all of that. I mean, where do you see in the next year your focus is going, whether it's a personal thing or a company thing?
I think that we are pretty consistent with wanting to just continue to service the Pacific Northwest community. We have so many customers that just still say, we had no idea that you existed. We had no idea that you can make a customized wedding dress. And so it's just building more and more connection with people that didn't know that we were here. Bringing them in and allowing them to see what we do here, and connecting with the brides. And it's going to naturally grow too, right? Word of mouth is so important in our industry. And when you take care of customers, they tell other people. So we just want to continue to service the community as we always have, but obviously continue to grow.
Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this interview with me today. We're actually recording this before the store is even opening. You've come in and graciously kind of opened up the space, which I also think speaks volumes, just to your dedication as a business owner and as somebody, that you would come in early, to do this.
It's my pleasure.
If people want to know more about you guys, if they want to learn more, get online, where would they go and what would they check out?
So on our website, samilasboutique.com, there is a tab for About Us, and it does speak about my story, my mother's story, my grandmother's story, and how we got here. You can reach us on info@samilasboutique.com. You can reach me directly, Yasmin at samilasboutique.com. You can always, like I said many times today, you can direct message me on Facebook, Instagram. You can really, I'm very actually accessible, which is amazing, because I don't know a lot of other people that are as accessible as I am, that, you have your connection with somebody who really has their hands on the entire bridal market and evening wear market. So you can always call me, ask me questions, email me, text me if you want. I have my business card here available too. People can always get a hold of me.
And I will echo that sentiment that even trying to schedule this, very on the ball, except you say, hey, I'm with a client right now, or I'm at the shop, I got to be present, for the client then.
Yes.
But otherwise, always really accessible, whether you're in person working with you or online. So
thank you, Reed. And I have to say the same about you. You've always been such a pleasure to work with, whether you were just seeing you in your zone, like out and about, when I saw you doing work for a lot of people in the community, or coming in and doing the videography for our store, helping us build our brand awareness, and any interaction I've ever had with you. You've been always just really warm and friendly and authentic, and I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. This has been another episode of Get to Know Your Wedding Pro. Check back next week for another wedding vendor interview. Thank you so much, Yasmin.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.